We're in Las Vegas for the first part of the three-headers that finishes 2024 Formula One season. And Las Vegas, as it always is it's cold and it's fierce coming into that race. And one of the things we are going to enjoy in this race is strategy. Strategy will play a whole lot of role in this last race. I'm sure the teams and the drivers are prepared, as most of the teams brought upgrades because they feel that they're trying to prepare against next year. Why is next year very important for them? Because they need to see where their cars are and know what they can do to make these cars faster, because it's going to be fierce next year with a lot of drivers moving from one team to another, new drivers coming in. It's going to be very intense, having a head start into next year. And remember, that's the last season for these technical directives. We are coming into a new technical directives from 2026, which should be a different ball game entirely. Some of the upgrades they brought are not going to be used. They're going to be used just in the FP1, some in the FP2 to get data, and some of these upgrades will be coming over and over and over again for the last three races of the season. Now, who needs these upgrades more? I believe Mercedes needs these upgrades more, because now next year they are going to be having a rookie and a veteran. The veteran, I still believe, still has a lot to learn, and it will now be like a McLaren team in Mercedes next year. If Mercedes should have a good performance, will they be able to turn that good performance into quality wins, into quality races? I'm not sure, because that is what happened to McLaren this year. They have a good team, a strong team, but an inexperienced team to win a championship, and that is what Mercedes will be missing as Lewis Hamilton is moving to Ferrari. Now Ferrari will be having a strong team, but Lewis Hamilton coming in with so much experience, and also they have improved, so this is going to play a vital role for them. And to Red Bull, loads of experience, loads of talents in the team, and we're having Max Verstappen, world champion, coming in for a fifth year to try and win the championship. Not for a fifth year in F1, but like an 8th year in F1. It is going to be much more technical and much more important for all those teams to put themselves or put their head game in the right space. So how do those big teams perform? They need to look at the upgrades that they are bringing now, how it's performing in relationship to what they are going to bring next year, to make sure nobody is having a head start advantage like Red Bull had since 2022. So it's going to be a critical thing for them getting into 2025 and ramping up 25 to go into a new technical directive in 2026. Now, will Mercedes come back? Depends on Mercedes themselves. We can see in FP1 they were out there both on medium tires and on soft tires. They were ahead of the pack with some clear daylight distance, but will that be enough to translate into good racing or into good performance for the last three races of the season? I'm not sure. In most races of this season, we've seen Mercedes doing well in FP1, FP2, especially on Friday, but coming into Saturday, it becomes worse. It becomes an understanding for them, and they tend to miss it up. But will they be having that same advantage into this race? Well, we don't know yet. They did well in FP1, and it looks like Mercedes are back. Are they really back? Let's see in the main race on Sunday if they really are back, because these last three races looks like night races. We're having the softest compound of tires coming into this cold track, the C5, C4, and the C3, with the C3 being the hardest tire. Now, these are brought because they need to have one or two tire changes, and the track is cold, and here the track abrasion is massive because we're having a lot of graining, and we started this FP1 with the track temperature as good as 16 degrees. 16 degrees means you need to heat up the tires, get the right temperature to get the tire working. Save that a lot of lockups, and we can see a lot of lockups from Max Verstappen to Lewis Hamilton to George Russell to Charles Leclerc. Every one of them were just locking the tires up because track temperature, trying to get it into it. It was much better when they had the soft tires on. The soft tires were easily heated up. Still, the Mercedes have the advantage, and the advantage in which they have, they are trying to make sure they maximize and they use. But this cold track will play a lot of role in this race, and for me, saying this race, I think, is a championship wrap-up. Either Max Verstappen wins this weekend, next weekend, or in Dubai. The championship wrap-up, because Max Verstappen I'm looking at today does not look like somebody that is going to give up, and this is somebody that is looking at coming between 2nd and 5th of the race, and if he can keep that up, this race, next race, the championship is done. Lando Norris had chances to win, but he himself really did himself no good. He messed this races up. He messed himself up, and that is where he is now. He's struggling to get back in form to see how he can do that, which is not possible because we have 3 races and 62 or 63 points is not something you can just recover. Max needs to be eking out points, even if he's not winning. You keep winning. I have 10-point advantage over me in the last 3 races. I still win championship. It's done and dusted already. McLaren can just do their bit to see how they can improve and see how they can make their car much more drivable and how they can make it more better and push their drivers in the game next season. Aside from that, I don't see what they can do. So the Max Championship hope is just sealed for me. Has Mercedes made Lewis lose confidence? I'm not sure. Lewis Hamilton, I think, is old enough to understand that if he's not really getting the game here, he can keep himself up for next year to see how he can do well in other teams. And I think next year we would really see if his head is really in the game or not. The first 3-4 races will determine. But from what we have seen, or what I can tell you I've seen in Lewis Hamilton the past 3 years, even when the car is not really working to his perfection, he has really been driving the heck out of the car and has given his best, and you can still see the passion is there, the bite is there. He really wants to win and he's really showing that both on the track and off the track, and he has not lost his head. Alpine getting on in a Mercedes engine shows that if a team like Mercedes really concentrate not just on their own mistakes to work on, giving opportunity to other teams to use their engine to win, like Aston Martin did a pretty decent job. They were ahead of Mercedes, and this is the McLaren. Why wouldn't anybody want to choose a Mercedes engine? Because they are not stifling or holding back on the teams they supply engine or transmission or parts. So I think they had to jump on the train. But for the technical directives that have been brought up by FIA, because Red Bull reported that some teams are using the plank deflectors, which means no matter how low they ride, those teams ride, the plank will not wear. You can remember what happened to Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc last year in Austin. Red Bull had a hick on that and they were able to really tell FIA. For me, I think Red Bull is doing a good job, but they too should look at themselves. Why are they noticing all this? Is it that they themselves are doing some part of this thing? If you've not done it before, you may not know. I'm sorry saying that, but I have to be sincere with you. It's something that you've done or you've tried that you know another team is trying and how they are doing it. And I think these teams need to keep exposing themselves, because when you're exposing others, you're exposing yourself also, which is how you win Formula 1 races. You need to expose others. So let's see how Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull and McLaren will do this weekend. But I think a lot of people are putting the ball in the court of Ferrari because they've done well last year, especially in all the practice and in the race last year in Las Vegas. Will they be able to do the same thing? Here in the practice, we can see that the McLaren are also in the game. Mercedes looks in the game. Will Red Bull really put themselves in the game like they did last year? They didn't look past all through the practices, but coming into the race, Max Verstappen was a different beast entirely. Up until FP2, I'll tell you more and we can see how we can ramp up to tell you who possibly can win the race, get on pole, and how the race strategy will work. I love you guys. Quick correction to what I said in FP1. The technical directives that was changed was because Red Bull decided through Chris Horner and his underhand tactics, decided to tell the FIA or the F1 to bring forward the technical directives that should kickstart next year, which is the skid blocks should be removed so that the plank wear can be really known. You know, when you have plank wear, you know that, okay, this is how low you can make your Formula 1 car. And with that, every other team had to make corrections to their plank wear so that they can have the right specifications. Bringing it back means for the last 3 races, the teams can know, and they brought it back on Friday. A lot of teams are complaining they are not giving them enough time to change the skid block, and this might affect some teams this weekend. But let's see how Formula 1 will deal with that. Formula 1 is a game of management, it's a game of numbers. Everybody looks for ways to put pressure on their competitors so that they can gain some time and have some advantage. During the FP2, we saw the Williams causing a red flag, and that was because Alex Albon had a fuel issue. And we can remember in 2 weekends they had 5 big crashes and they are back with their car. Fortunately, they're having a small issue and I think they should be able to solve it. They've solved the bigger issue, they should be able to solve this one also. That was the only red flag of the FP1 FP2 session, and they were back. Also, I forgot to tell you that the young man Yuki Tsunoda had some 2-3 hours delay entering US because he wore pajamas and he didn't come with his full team. The authorities were like, who is this guy putting on pajamas riding to US? Who the hell are you? And I was like, you don't know me? I'm Yuki Tsunoda. I drive for VCAP, you know. And they were like, oh guy, we don't know you. You don't, just get out, you know. And he had to spend 2 hours explaining himself, and they're trying to contact to make sure maybe they were thinking he's a terrorist, or they wanted to be sure that how much is the salary? Over 10 million? Doing what? Driving. What are you driving? Truck? Saving lives? I don't understand, you know, until they were able to sort it out. And it was like, guys, this is my third time coming to this country. You guys have not given me issues like this. Why are you giving me issues? Is it because it's Las Vegas? But unfortunately, he was finally granted access. But unfortunately, again, Lewis Hamilton coming into FP2, topping the timesheet. It's been a long time we've seen that. But can we say Mercedes are back? Like I've said before, most times Mercedes are Mr. Friday sometimes. On Saturday, we'll see what they really bring up. Because when Mercedes mess up on Friday, they come strong during the race. When they do well on Friday, sometimes they come bad on Sunday. So let's see how they do tomorrow. If they can be consistent tomorrow, which is Saturday, we can say, okay, probably on Sunday, hopeful to see something good from Mercedes. The McLaren look fast. They are second fastest in this session. Meanwhile, the Ferrari also looks so fast, and they are looking like a team that really wants to challenge. Nevertheless, the Red Bull didn't put in any good performance on the soft tires in this session. So what should we be expecting? Are they sandbagging? Are they affected by the technical directives that they push to move forward? Naturally, what I think they are looking at is if they can bunch up those teams, Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, stealing points, so probably it will give them an advantage. Let's see if there's really an advantage in all this. And if there is none, well, it would really affect their team. But certainly, like I said, anything McLaren needs to do this weekend, they need to get at least 18 points out of Max Verstappen, or totally get Max Verstappen out of the race, and Lando Norris wins the race. That is the only mercy. Aside from that, I think this championship is done, long gone and forgotten. Up until tomorrow, catch you guys in FP3 and qualifying. I love you guys. Cheers.